All right, everybody, buckle up because we are diving into a real estate story out of Baltimore. And let's just say it's got people talking.
Yeah, a real head scratcher.
Hmm.
31 properties in the heart of Baltimore going for basically a steal.
I mean, $31,000 total. It's like, what, $1,000 a pop?
Yeah.
Something's got to be up, right?
Well, there's always more to the story than meets the eye, right? We've got the land disposition agreement itself, a summary from the Board of Estimates, and some background on the lucky developer, Eager Street Development 28 LLC. So, let's see what we can piece together.
Your street development, huh? Sounds like they hit the jackpot with this one. But before we get ahead of ourselves, could you break down this land disposition agreement thing? Sounds like some serious legal jargon to me.
Basically, it's how cities like Baltimore can kickstart development in areas that have seen better days. It's a deal between the city and a developer, and in this case, it looks like they're aiming to turn these 31 properties into, well, the document actually says affordable housing.
Affordable housing, huh? That makes a lot of sense considering the price tag. But what's the catch? They can't just hand over 31 grand and call it a day, right?
Oh, not even close. Article 1 of this agreement reads like a laundry list of things Eager Street Development has to do before they even get the keys. We're talking approved construction plans, a signed construction contract, and get this, a performance and payment bond.
A bond. What is this, a James Bond movie? What are they bonding for?
Not exactly. This bond is serious business, a cool $1 million to be exact. It's the city's way of making sure Eager Street Development isn't just playing around. If they fail to deliver on their promises, the city's got a little insurance policy to fall back on.
Smart move, Baltimore.
Yeah.
So, $1 million bond aside, what exactly are they promising to do with these properties? Turn them into mansions.
Not quite. Article 2 dives into their obligations, and let me tell you, it's not just a fresh coat of paint. We're talking subdividing the land if they need to, making sure all the city ordinances are followed, even getting those utilities hooked up properly.
Sounds like a lot more than just slapping on a for sale sign.
Absolutely, and it doesn't stop there. Article 4 is all about keeping things fair and square. We're talking restrictive covenants to prevent any funny business with discrimination. This is about building a community, not just houses.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. So they're building a community, but with the speed of light, it seems. This agreement lays down the law when it comes to deadlines. 90 days for preliminary plans, 60 more for the full shebang after those get approved. And this construction has to start within a month of getting the green light and be totally done within 2 years. They're really cracking the whip.
Yeah, time waits for no developer. The city's definitely putting an emphasis on speed here. I mean, think about it. The sooner these properties are occupied, the sooner the neighborhood can start to, come back to life.
Makes sense, but this agreement we're looking at is from 2013. I thought this was all recent news. What's the deal?
Ah, well, it seems this project has a bit of a history. The 2013 agreement actually replaced earlier ones from 2010 and 2011. Urban redevelopment, it rarely goes in a straight line.
So this is like the sequel, the remix.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It even mentions swapping out some of the original properties because they were deemed, well, too close for comfort to some railroad tracks.
Oh, wow. Really? Which properties were those?
The original agreement included 2529, 2531, and 2533 West Baltimore Street. But because of those tracks, they were a no-go.
Safety first, for sure. So they just swapped them out for different ones. That's some fancy real estate footwork. You got it. They found replacements, kept the project moving, and that's how this thing is going down in Milton-Montford.
Okay, so we've got our developer, Eager Street Development. They've got a $1 million bond on the line, a whole lot of work ahead of them, and it seems like a bit of a history with these properties.
And we haven't even gotten to the really interesting stuff
Oh,
yet.
there's more. You're killing me here. Oh, yeah, we've got speculation, assignment, and, well, let's just say things get even juicier from here. We'll dive into all that after a quick break.
Juicier, huh? All right, you've piqued my interest. Speculation assignment. Lay it on me.
Well, think of it this way. Article V is like the anti-flipping clause. Baltimore doesn't want Eager Street just snapping up these properties for a song and then turning around and selling them for a quick profit.
Ah, so no playing Monopoly with these houses. Makes sense, especially if the whole point is to create affordable housing. Speaking of which, our summary here says these properties were actually appraised for way more than $1,000 each. More like 10,000, even 12,000 in some cases. So, what gives?
That's where the affordable part comes in. The city's taking a bit of a hit up front by selling so far below market value, but the hope is that it pays off in the long run.
Pay off how?
Think about it. Increased property values, safer neighborhoods, a boost to the local economy. All of that eventually adds up to a bigger tax base for the city.
Long game, huh? Okay, I see where they're going with this. But let's not forget, we're talking about 31 properties here. What kind of shape are these places even in?
Well, according to the agreement, it's a mixed bag. Some vacant buildings that are probably okay to rehab, some vacant lots that are basically blank slates, 18 existing structures, 15 vacant lots to be exact.
So a little bit of everything. Got it. What's the plan for them, though? Are they going to try to build, like, McMansions on these lots, or are they trying to keep it real with the neighborhood's vibe?
They're actually planning to build single-family homes, nothing too fancy. The summary mentions sizes ranging from, let's see, 799 square feet to 1,105 square feet.
Okay, so definitely not McMansion territory. But the big question is, affordable for whom, right? I mean, affordable means different things to different people. What's the city considering affordable in this context?
That's the million-dollar question, and unfortunately, the agreement doesn't really get into the specifics of how they're defining affordability. That's something we'd probably need to, investigate further.
Yeah, definitely something to look into. After all, we're not just talking about houses here. We're talking about homes, livelihoods, a place for people to put down roots. It's got to be affordable for the folks who actually need it.
Absolutely. It really highlights the importance of community engagement in projects like this.
Mm.
Were residents involved in shaping this agreement? Were their voices heard? These are things that really matter.
For sure. Now, this summary also mentions that Eager Street Development isn't exactly going solo on this. It sounds like they've got some partners in crime, so to speak.
Oh, yeah. It mentions a mix of private and public financing. We're talking about organizations like the Legacy Community Lending Program, the Chesapeake Bay Trust, even Johns Hopkins University, and their Live Near Where You Work program.
Wow, big players.
Yeah.
It seems like they're really trying to make this happen. And hey, maybe that's why Eager Street felt comfortable putting up that $1 million bond.
Could be. It's a big investment, no doubt. But I think it speaks to the fact that they, along with all these partners, really believe in this project. It's a calculated risk, but with potentially high rewards, not just for them, but for the entire community.
A risk, for sure, but hopefully one that pays off for Milton-Montford.
Hmm.
Okay, so we've talked timelines, financing, community impact. We've even touched on the whole affordable debate. But we haven't even gotten to what happens if Eager Street stumbles, right? There's got to be something in this agreement about that.
Oh, you bet there is. Article 7 is all about that. It's the what if things go wrong section, and let me tell you, it's a doozy.
All right, you've successfully hooked me. What happens if this fairy tale real estate deal turns into a nightmare? Spill it. A doozy, huh? All right, lay it on me. What happens if Eager Street drops the ball? What can the city actually do?
Well, Article 7, it's pretty clear about the city's options. First off, they can hold on to that down payment, as liquidated damages.
Ouch. So that's like a $1 million slap on the wrist.
Basically. But it doesn't stop there. The city can also decide, you know what, we're taking the properties back.
Wow, really? Just like that?
Yep. The agreement gives them the right to re-enter the properties and take possession if the developer defaults.
So then what? Back to square one for those houses. Another decade of sitting vacant.
Not necessarily. The city could then turn around and resell the properties to a different developer. Hopefully one with a better track record or at least a better plan.
So it's like a do-over, a second chance.
Exactly. And I think it shows that the city's really committed to seeing this project through. They've got safeguards in place to protect their investment and make sure these properties end up benefiting the community, even if the first developer falls through.
Makes sense. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of a deal like this, a $1,000 house, But it's important to remember that there are real people's lives at stake here. This isn't just about bricks and mortar. It's about creating opportunities for homeownership, for building a stronger community.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And it really underscores the importance of getting this right, We've talked about affordability, community engagement, and now we're seeing the mechanisms in place to hold developers accountable. It's a lot to consider.
It really is. And you know what? It makes me wonder if this kind of model, this land disposition agreement thing, could be used in other ways for other types of properties. What about those empty storefronts downtown or those abandoned lots that have become eyesores? Could this be a way to breathe new life into those spaces too?
It's an interesting thought, isn't it? Instead of just focusing on residential properties, why not explore how this type of agreement could be used to revitalize commercial areas, create green spaces, maybe even support local artists and entrepreneurs? The possibilities are really quite exciting when you start thinking outside the box.
It's about looking beyond the dollar signs and seeing the potential for positive change, right?
Absolutely, and that's what makes these deep dives so fascinating. We uncover the details, we analyze the implications, and most importantly, we start to ask the bigger questions about how these policies and agreements shape our communities.
Well said. And on that note, I want to thank you and I want to thank our listeners for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Baltimore real estate. It's been quite a journey, and we've only just scratched the surface.
We sure have.
Until next time, keep asking those tough questions, keep digging for answers, and keep striving to make your communities better places to live, work, and thrive.